Hi Aries, how are my fiery seekers doing? Welcome to your May Taroscope. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, whatnot. Intuitively guided, you know. If it strikes a chord, it's your melody. As simple as that. My name is Morgane. If you're new, welcome to the Existential Shift. Hi, this was fast. The Page of Wands. In the mood for an adventure, Aries? You just want to experience this, right? You just want to like walk around in the park, listen to everybody doing their thing and be entertained by it. What people have to say about me is none of my business. Such an Aries vibe. You're right. What people have to say about you is none of your business, unless you were the cause of it and you are affected by it. Then it is very much so your business. 7 of Cups. I'm getting like listening to serendipity and listening to the universe kind of vibe, like opening up to different types of energies and be like, I just want to be in tune. I just want to listen and see what happens. I don't want to act from my cardinal fire energy. I just want it to come to me in the right way. I'm open to the possibilities. That's an interesting vibe for you, Aries. Somewhat of a new one. Because you're the creator, you're the life force of the zodiac wheel, you're the initiation of spring, you begin. And the rest follows. So for you to be like, I think I'm going to let the energies lead me. That's brave. That is brave. Okay. All right. This is the, 4 of Wands. Can you see? Fix this, excuse me. Okay, better. Better. Right. These are the Spellcasters Tarot, by the way, which I'm obsessed with because they're gorgeous. 4 of Wands. That's a very serious energy. 6 of Cups. Okay. Going from strolling in the park, listening to the birds and being kind of leaf blown in the wind, to this is what I want, this is what I'm creating. Like, you go from like a morphic vibe to like whatever will be kind of thing to, oh, I'm going to build structure and foundations for my future generations. And here's the thing. Fire, fire. 7 of Cups going to the 6 of Cups. It is birthed from that. It's not a complete shift that is, bizarre and unrelated. This energy somehow gave birth to this. Almost like, okay, you were open to experience, you were open to, to the energies to show you, and then they showed you. And then you're like, okay, this is what is shown to me. I'm going to work with it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm also It doesn't, the message doesn't sit completely right yet, so I'm not going to say it yet. Let's wait. Let's see more cards. I'm getting like a vibe of, you know, walking in the park in a very serene, with someone really special. It could be a family member, it could be a best friend, it could be a love partner. Something is being birthed out of I don't know if fantasy is the right word, some sort of an ideal vision that you had of what it is that you would like for yourself. And you were kind of strolling around in your own life, in your own daily mundane life, being like waiting for it. You know, waiting for it to, like, you had this vision of what you want and you were waiting, and then suddenly maybe it kind of manifested or came about, and then, okay, here it is. If you're not feeling it yet, it's very close. Something that reminds you of home. It gives you, doesn't have to really remind you of an actual home that you've known, but makes you feel at home, maybe, from being kind of drifter kind of like energy, like a gypsy kind of vibe, like everywhere is home kind of thing, to, oh, okay, this is home. Aries, it's nice. It's very nice. Finding your soul family, your soul tribe. Reconnecting. It's like I'm getting someone who's been like looking for their soul family, soul tribe, soul partnership, and it's like, it's like, hey universe, I'm looking for these people. And then they start coming. And it just kind of makes sense. Like, this could be new people that feels like you've known them for a really long time. Or this can be reconnecting with people from your past that, you know, like, that you always have these people in your life that you can, you know, not speak with for like years, and then when you meet, it's like it was yesterday. Show me more, please, for my Aries, for May. I know what this is. The whole Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, all of those jazzy planets, serious planets retrograding, kind of forcing us to set boundaries to ourselves and figure out what it is that we really want. And everybody's so scared of retrogrades. I find them so exciting because they clear the surface from BS and make room for authentic energies. And I'm getting you guys like being super open and receptive to it and non-judgmental and non-trying to control it. And from there, that stability comes from. Or those connections kind of rise. Seven of Swords. I'm going to show this to you. See how he's like sneaking out when the wolves are sleeping? It's a very different energy. Of theft. Almost like someone is trying to actually sneak out of that energy. Hey, we all have our journey, right? But I'm getting someone who's trying to like take what they can from it and just be on their way. I'm also getting, and this is probably just for a few of you and it's not pleasant, I'm sorry, someone who's leaving their children behind, someone who's like just want to escape that. Wanting to escape the nest, and they do it like in a sneaky way. So if you've been recently experiencing someone kind of avoiding responsibilities, wanting to just enjoy the fun but not the responsibility, you know, like it's a privilege that a grandfather and an uncle has but not a father. Like someone who doesn't grow up. I'm also getting kids that stay with their grandparents because something is going on with their parents. Okay, let's see further. This is a very specific message. It's not for all of you. So let's go back to my collective of seekers who are watching me. Of Aries seekers, please. Let's see what else arises. Show me more, please. The Tower. Yeah. Someone is breaking up a home or is behaving, behaving like really destructive. Aries. Guys, watch your other placements if this doesn't resonate with you. Sometimes it will touch, sometimes it won't. These are general readings, so watch your other placements or book a private reading with me, you know? But feel free to stay tuned because I always give spiritual guidance and teachings. So those are always relevant for everybody. But let's see further. Eight of Cups. Someone is definitely leaving something. And they're doing it not in a necessarily mature, responsible way. Show me more. Show me more, please. The Fool. Yeah, they just want a brand new start. They want a new life, a new adventure. They want to go back to wonder, you know. But if there are kids involved, then I'm so sorry if someone is doing that to you. And if you're doing that to your children, you know, there's a difference between being loyal to our freedom and our, you know, authenticity and sense of self, as opposed to, and just being selfish and reckless. Big, big, big difference. Butterfly effect. Everything we do affects, right? Cause and effect. Now, sometimes we don't have a choice. If we're unhappy somewhere, yeah, we don't need to stay where we're miserable. But there are ways of going about things. I see someone not being able to handle things in maturity, and just kind of just bails. And you know, it's one thing if you're like a young couple and someone's leaving the other, okay, whatever. But if there are children involved, you're basically scarring these pure souls, you know, and creating such a deep, difficult sense of abandonment. And maybe you were abandoned. If this is you, maybe you felt abandoned as a child. You know, maybe you've been carrying that experience, and then you've been kind of reliving that. I will abandon before I will get abandoned. I will leave before I will be left behind. And the only thing you know about leaving is doing it abruptly and now, again, don't get me wrong, new starts are wonderful and sense of freedom is important, and that's how we live this life, okay? But we are all one. When you hurt someone, you hurt yourself, okay? When you hurt a child or an animal, that echoes 1,000 times more. And if you experienced that before, please go back to that sensation, what it did to you, and don't pass it forward, right? Don't break that wheel. Be the one to break that wheel. Don't be a prisoner to your psychology. You tell yourself that you want to be free, but you're actually a prisoner to your subconscious. You're just reenacting the same thing over and over again. That trauma that clicked and got stuck and keeps recycling itself. And ask yourself, am I going away towards inspiration and love? Or am I, because I'm going towards that, because it's my soul calling? Or am I going because I'm escaping handling myself and my emotions and my own journey of maturity? Because one would be brave, but the other option would be just fearful and not freedom oriented, right? Because if it's not actually a choice, as opposed, if it's just maintaining that psychological status quo that you keep enacting, that's not your free choice. That's not your independence. That's not your freedom. That's your fears and your traumas, and you're just being controlled by your subconscious. Five of Wands, Knight of Wands. Yeah, it's a struggle. You're like, you just don't want to handle conflict or a sensation of negative vibes, and I get that, right? I get that. Sometimes, and I'm going to say something that triggers people, and I hope you understand what I mean by that. Sometimes peace requires war. Sometimes we need to battle our own demons that are mirrored to us as an outside conflict. Because when we are in conflict within ourselves, that's create conflict with our environment, right? So when you have a conflict with your environment, that's actually an opportunity to settle the conflict within yourself. If you just leave that exterior conflict and just take yourself to a different scenario, a different environment, different job, different person, whatever, different place, you'll still be taking yourself with it and your inner conflict with you, thus just creating it in a different place with a different person at a different job. Okay? So if you want the narrative to change from conflict to harmony, face it. The only way out is in. I always say it. You know, face the conflict, face the challenge, face the difficulty. Stretch your boundaries, step out of your comfort zone. Sometimes to achieve comfort, we have to go through a discomfort. You know, have that conversation, have that battle, have that, you know, facing it as opposed to escaping from it. I see someone who just wants to drop it all and just leave because they feel overwhelmed, like it's too much. And I have compassion for that. I do. I understand, you know. But I want you. I don't want you to just go away from something just to have it happen again. Like, you know, same thing, different name, right? You'll keep facing that challenge, that lesson, until you master it. It's like when you're in school, right? And you go through an exam. If you fail the exam, you won't be able to, you know, to graduate. You'll have to have another exam, same thing, until you do it, until you manage through it. Aries. Show me more, please. Where is this Knight of Wands flying to? Okay. Three of Wands. Okay. So there's an opportunity for communication and like a sense of newfound hope, a journey. Also, someone is leaving one situation to go into a different situation. Once again, make sure you've learned the lesson and that you behave differently, because if you maintain the same type of behavior, then it will just repeat itself with the new person, right? Or with the new path, because we went from Four of Wands to Three of Wands, right? Still the journey of the Wands. Great, new potential, new endeavor, new adventure, new possibilities. Let's make them great. A lot of fire here. You guys are very passionate about feeling great, and that's lovely and good and important, but it needs to maintain and sustain itself. Nine of Pentacles and the Hangman. Beautiful. So yeah, results require sacrifice. If you want something as fantastic as the Nine of Pentacles, bountiful, independent, strong, present, then you have to match it, right? It requires some sort of sacrifice. So what is that sacrifice that I'm talking about? Nothing new, okay? For example, if you want to succeed in your career, we all know, and you know it better than most, Aries, that you have to put in the effort, the time, the energy, the work, to invest in it, to be committed to it, to be on time, to prove yourself. And when you do that, you manifest success, okay? If you try to grow something, okay, like a plant, you know that you have to, you know, water it properly, put it in the right climate, sun, not sun, depending on what it needs, to put in the effort, the work. When you're cooking something, you need to be on it, you know, on tempering the amounts, the heat. Everything requires some sort of work, and that includes connections, right? Relationships, friendships, love. There's this tendency to, like, I see it in men. I'm sorry, I don't want to generalize or something, but to, like, have this notion that love and relationships are different in that aspect from work, and like that, you know, love needs to just happen kind of thing and be super easy, as opposed to the basic understanding of how, you know, how success can be obtained. The thing is, there is no difference. Everything is the same. Everything in life is the same, just different, you know, different semantics. Everything requires, like, if you care about it, okay, if you want to build something strong, okay, if you want to build something important and deep and valuable, you have to put in the effort and the work and the time and the energy and the thought. You wouldn't be reckless with your job, right? Because you care about that. You want it to succeed. So you can't be reckless with your connections. If you want them to work, you need to care about it and put in the effort. And just like if you can't put in the effort at your job, it will just not work out, and that's just a choice that you make. Same goes about relationship. If you can't put in the effort in your relationships, the occasional struggle or the time and energy and consideration, it's just not going to work out. And, you know, that's a choice. It's a choice, but it's very mathematical, cause and effect. You can't, you know, there are universes out there that operate differently. You know, there's different laws of physics. On this planet that we're living in, nature has its rules, you know. And if you want the benefits of what nature can give you, you need to follow that path. You know, kind of play the game. The hangman he's an actor, is a spiritual actor who plays the game, you know. He just changes his perception and behaves differently in accordance to what the situation requires, okay? If you want a 9 of Pentacles, you need to behave like a 9 of Pentacles. If you want something very grounded and powerful and full of value, then you need to give powerful behavior that is full of value, okay? Because then that thing won't, you know, scientifically, it won't be able to be in the same room with you because it has this type of frequency, right? And if you have a different type of frequency, it's not gonna, I talk about it a lot. I don't believe in right and wrong. I think being a gypsy wanderlust is beautiful. I've been like that for the longest time, but then what I had in return, types of jobs, types of relationships, was just that, you know, temporary, inconsistent, with no roots. I've experienced what I've given, you know, which made sense. So if that's what you want, you know, okay, go do it. But if you want this, see, I have like someone here who wants that, but don't want to give what it takes to have that. I'm going to say something that will trigger. You think it's your sense of freedom, it's your sense of spiritual laziness. Sorry. Things do come with ease, right? But it's a balanced type of, a little bit of work, a little bit of ease, a little bit of investment, a little bit of leisure. As with anything. I wouldn't want to work with a flake, with someone that I can't trust them being on time, because then my business will suffer. Same goes to friendships, relationships. I don't want to date a flake because then my heart will suffer. Right? I'm not weird in that way. I'm not shading flakiness. Sometimes flakiness is fun, and you just want to be like, whatever will be, will be. That's fun. That's great. When it's, you know, when it flows like mutually, you know, when it fits, when you've already set the foundation straight and the trust straight. Because if the roots are not grounded and stable, the tree will collapse from every little wind. Okay? This building would not have broken down and fallen if the foundations and the structure were strong. Okay? When the foundations and structure and foundations and structure are strong, winds, rains, they can come along, all good. But something here wasn't grounded. So it collapsed, or is collapsing, I don't know, you tell me. And it brings the sense of an immediate sense of freedom, but then it might happen again. It doesn't have to happen again. You can learn from this. Or you can be like, no, I like this. Okay. I don't really believe in punishment and reward. When it comes to karma, I do believe in karma, but in the sense of just science. What you echo, the energy you echo, that's what comes back. Like, I don't think if you hurt someone and someone hurts you just like as karmic punishment. I think it's because you behave hurtful, so you receive hurtful. Does that make sense? Just exude the thing that you would like to receive. Keep it simple. Exude the thing that you would like to receive. Because there's a lot to receive here with this Nine of Pentacles. Also, I'm getting that for the narrative of someone leaving a structured thing because they want their freedom and all that jazz, the individual left behind would really, 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 really benefit from it and succeed and like not really be touched by it. And that will make the person feel like an idiot. I'm sorry. It's a very specific narrative for those of you like, because, okay, if you're with someone who isn't there properly, even if you don't see it in that moment, it hurts you, and then when they leave, even if it hurts for a while, then you end up benefiting from it because you have more free energy to create and to succeed, as opposed to when you were spending time with someone who, you know, didn't make you feel good. And you're like, okay, when the space opens up, you're like, oh, I can make myself feel good. And then you make yourself feel good, and then you feel good. Anything else for my Aries for May before we move on to your extended? Justice. It's exactly what I've been saying, the balance, you know? The Justice card speaks of the myth of, you know, when you die and you go up to the heavens, and then she's sitting there, or he's, whatever, and with the scale, and like one side of the scale holds a feather, the other, they put your heart in it. If your heart is lighter than a feather, you get entrance to heaven. You get to enter. If it's heavier than a feather, you go back to the realm of, you know, living the cycles, karmic cycles. And what does it mean having a heart that is lighter than a feather? It means being genuinely true to what you need, but from a place of heart, of source, and not from a place of the subconscious fears. It brings us back to what I said earlier of the reasons you have to leave, or someone has to leave, you know. If it's really truthful from a place of an open heart that feels like this, whatever this was, is not good for them, and they have a new journey to take, that's beautiful, that's great, that's great. But if it comes from a place that constantly does the same thing because they just can't handle their own pain and conflict that is being reflected in their environment, like your outside is just a hologram of your inside, right? Then that's maintaining the heavy heart. And it's almost like you're getting an opportunity right now in your life of someone being like, okay, is your heart lighter than a feather? You can come. Are you open-hearted? Are you sincere? Are you brave? Are you true? Are you of virtue? Okay. But if you're not, that's kind of the Justice card. It's discernment. It's spiritual. It's real deep spiritual discernment. Okay. Great. Let's see your extended, shall we? Definitely the 3 sevens. The major arcanas. I'm going to keep the 3, 4, 5 of wands. Okay. So I'm going to do this right now. Below in the information box, you will find the link to this extended, your monthly. You'll also find a link to your yearly extended 2019 Ministers of Magic, where I I dissected the year by the month using the Afro Tarot, the Celtic Tarot, the I Ching, the Akashic Records, and the runes. So you check it out. You have 8 more months to go for 2019. So it's fun to have something you can go back to each month and see, okay, what's the next month's messages. And there's also, oh my god, I added the High Priestess to my Tarot Masterclass. So there's a video about the High Priestess. There's the Fool, there's the Magician, and there's the High Priestess, and all the minor arcana. So Tarot Masterclass, check that out, link below. And if you want to book a private reading with me, you can do so as well in the information box, through the information box. That's it, guys. I will see you in a second in your extended, and if not, totally cool. Love you guys anyway. I will see you in June. Happy May.